Why people in Nebraska still fear the salt witch. In a remote corner of rural Nebraska, nestled among rolling fields and whispering prairie grass, there was a tale that sent shivers down the spines of the locals. It was a story told in hushed tones, by the flickering light of campfires and under moonlit skies. It was the legend of the salt witch, a chilling tale that had haunted the community for generations. The salt witch was said to be a solitary figure, living deep in the heart of the Salt Flats, a desolate expanse of land where nothing grew except for the memories of those who dared to venture too close. Her origin was shrouded in mystery. Some said she was a disgraced witch banished from her coven. Others believed her to be a vengeful spirit cursed to roam the earth. According to the legend, the Salt Witch had a penchant for cruelty, and her powers were feared by all. It was said that she could curse the land, turning bountiful crops into withered husks with a mere wave of her hand. But it wasn't just her powers that terrified the locals. It was her appearance. She was described as a wraith-like figure, her skin as pale as the salt that surrounded her hair long and tangled like seaweed, and her eyes empty voids that seemed to peer into the very soul. Over the years, stories of the Salt Witch's malevolence grew more and more sinister. Tales were told of missing livestock, of families driven to madness, and of those who had dared to cross her path, never to be seen again. The Salt Flats became a place of dread, and the villagers avoided it at all costs, even going so far as to take long detours to avoid its cursed boundaries. But as the years passed, the legend of the Salt Witch began to fade. Modernity crept into the rural landscape, and the old tales were dismissed as nothing more than superstition. People started to venture closer to the Salt Flats, some even setting up camp on its outskirts. The warnings of their ancestors were forgotten, replaced by the allure of cheap land and untouched wilderness. And then, one fateful night, a group of young campers decided to test the legend. Armed with flashlights and bravado, they ventured deep into the Salt Flats, laughing off the stories of the Salt Witch as mere fairy tales. They scoffed at the warnings, convinced that they were immune to the old fears. But as the night wore on, their laughter turned to unease. Strange things began to happen. Shadows danced at the edge of their vision. Whispers filled the air, and the wind seemed to carry the mournful wails of the damned. Panic set in, and they tried to find their way back, but the Salt Flats seemed to shift and change, confounding their every effort. And then, as the first light of dawn broke, they saw her, a figure pale and gaunt, her eyes like twin abysses, standing at the edge of their campsite. The Salt Witch had returned. With a gesture, she sent a blinding flash of light that seared their memories, leaving them with a terror they could never forget. The campers were never the same again. They fled the Salt Flats, their minds haunted by the Salt Witch's presence. And as they returned to the village, they told a new tale, one that breathed life back into the old legend, one that served as a chilling reminder that some stories, no matter how old, should never be dismissed. The people of Nebraska once again feared the Salt Witch, and they knew that her curse was very real, waiting patiently for those who dared to forget the past.